Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Just me today. Hope you all are having a happy Monday, ending of week 15 in the NFL. We got bowl season going on. Myrtle Beach Bowl currently. Marshall up over UConn 28-zip. 8 minutes to go in the third quarter there. So the Thundering Herd look like they're going to get a bowl win and improve to 9-4. Drop the Huskies to 6-7 in Jim Moore Jr.'s first season there. But it was a absolutely wild weekend of football between some of the bowl games. I didn't think many of the bowl games were too great on Saturday. But the NFL action Saturday and continuing into Sunday was just crazy. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some college stuff, coaching, carousel, transfer portal news, and then we'll get into the NFL news, big injury updates for some quarterbacks, and preview the Monday night and Thursday night games at the end. So Saturday, the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, Louisville got it done 24-7 over Cincinnati. The Cardinals, led by quarterback Brock Doman, 13 of 21, 61.9%, 132 yards, one touchdown, a pick, and a fumble. Not the greatest quarterback play in this one. Cincinnati's quarterback Evan Prater, 7 of 15, 46.7%, 83 yards, one touchdown, and a fumble. It was the rushing game for the Cardinals, though. Maurice Turner and Jawar Jordan. Turner here, 31 carries, 160 yards, and a fumble. Jawar Jordan, 9 carries, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches for 11 yards as well. Louisville wide receiver Jalen Carter led the game in receiving. 4 receptions, 50 yards on the day. And then defensively, I think I'm going to go with the bottom guy there, Louisville defensive lineman Yaya Diaby. Love him. 4 tackles, 3 solos, 1.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. So I'm sure new head coach Jeff Brom likes what he saw out of the Cardinals team there. Jordan and Doman, the returning starters there. Cincinnati, however, I think Scott Satterfield's got to get himself a quarterback to upgrade over Evan Prater, but we'll see. Louisville covered -2.5, under 38.5. The Cricket Celebration Bowl HBCU National Championship game, a shocking upset. North Carolina Central 41-34 over number 10 Jackson State in overtime. Shadur Sanders had a whale of a game, even in a loss. 30 of 40, 75%, 349 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and a fumble. NC Central quarterback Davius Richard, 15 of 20, 75% as well, 175 yards, 1 touchdown. The ground game was prevalent for him, though, 22 carries, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Eagles running back Latrell Collier led the game in rushing, 17 carries, 98 yards, a touchdown, 5 catches for 40 yards. Jackson State wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr. led the game in receiving, the only 100-yard receiver, 7 receptions, 137 yards, and a touchdown. And then Tigers corner Travis Hunter here, the dual threat corner wide receiver, 4 catches, 47 yards, and 2 touchdowns on offense, including a spectacular toe tap in the end zone to get the game tying touchdown. And then on defense, Eagles defensive back Manny Smith had the lone turnover of the game, 1 fumble recovery. So NC Central wins their first HBCU national championship. Good to see them. And Prime does not go out with a win in his Jackson State finale. NC Central plus 14 wins outright over 55. Very entertaining game, that one. SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Number 14, Oregon State, 30-3 thromping of Florida, as I expected. Florida did play quarterback Jack Miller III, 13 of 22, 59.1%, 180 yards, 13 carries for 13 yards. Oregon State played a couple quarterbacks after they got the big lead. Ben Goldbranson was the starter, 12 of 19, 63.2%, 165 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 carries for 15 yards, and a rushing score as well. Tristan Gebbia came in for him later, 5 of 6, 83.3% for 24 yards. And then Oregon State wide receiver Tyjon Lindsey had an interesting day. 2 catches, 7 yards, 1 carry for 8 yards and a touchdown. Also threw a ball that was incomplete. Oregon State running back Deshaun Fenwick led the game in rushing, 21 carries, 107 yards. Great bowl game for him. The Florida offense couldn't run the ball almost at all. And the Beavers wide receiver Silas Bolden there, he led the game in receiving, 6 catches, 99 yards, and a score. Defensively, I'm going to go with the top guy there. Oregon State linebacker Kyrie Fisher Morris, 11 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss. Oregon State covered easily, -7.5, under 51.5. How about the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stifel? Fresno State beating up on Washington State 29-6. Fresno State quarterback Jake Haener in his final college game, 24 of 36, 66.7%, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. Love me some Jake Haener. Hopefully see him at the draft. Washington State quarterback Cameron Ward, 22 of 32, 68.8%, 137 yards, and a pick. The Fresno State defense did a masterful job all day on Cam Ward. Fresno State running back Jordan Mims, he was really this game, though. 18 carries, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches for 27 yards as well. Fresno State wide receiver Nico Remigio, he led the game in receiving, 5 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Washington State wide receiver Robert Farrell, he had double-digit receptions, 10 to be exact, 10 catches, 65 yards. And then defensively, gonna go with probably Fresno State defensive lineman Devo Bridges, 8 tackles, 6 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. But I do want to mention Fresno State defensive tackle Leonard Payne Jr. He only had 1 tackle. It was a solo. It was a sack, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and he had a safety as well. Fresno State covered -5.5, under 54, which was not what I thought. I thought this game was going to be points galore. It was not. Lending Tree Bowl. This might have been my favorite bowl game of this weekend. Southern Miss, 38-24 win over Rice. Rice, like I mentioned on Friday, the only 5-7 team to make a bowl game this year. Southern Miss gets a winning record on the year, but Rice played 2 quarterbacks, AJ Padgett, 19 of 37, 51.4%, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. Good day. And then Shaki Etrache, 1 of 2, 50%, 8 yards, and a pick. Not a good day for Etrache there. Trey Lowe, the Golden Eagles quarterback, 7 of 16, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 fumbles. But this game was Frank Gore Jr. It was spectacular to watch. His dad was there, which made it even more special. 21 carries, 329 yards. That is not only a Southern Miss bowl game record, that is a NCAA bowl game record for Frank Gore Jr. there. 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble. And he, like I mentioned on Friday, he throws the ball every game. 2 of 3 passing, 19 yards, and 1 touchdown pass as well. That is all you need to know. I was gonna just put up his stats and just let it go, but had to put everyone else on here. Southern Miss wide receiver Jacarius Caston, he led the game in receiving, 4 catches, 94 yards, a touchdown there. Rice wide receiver Isaiah Esdale, he had 2 scores to go along with 3 catches for 83 yards. And then defensively, how about the day for Southern Miss defensive or linebacker Dalen Gill? 11 tackles, 4 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Southern Miss covered -6.5 over 45.5. Just want to update you on the Myrtle Beach Bowl. UConn scoring to make it a 21-point game, 28-7, 5:35 to go in the third. New Mexico Bowl, BYU getting the 1-point win over SMU, 24-23. Tanner Mordecai did play in this game for the Mustangs, 27 of 37, 73%, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Jaron Hall did not play for the Cougars in this one. So it was quarterback Soljay Mayava Peters, 7 of 12, 58.3%, 47 yards, 1 pick, 14 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown. SMU running back Tyler Levine led the game in rushing outside of Mayava Peters. 23 carries, 91 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 catches for 25 yards. SMU wide receiver Moochie Dixon led the game in receiving, 6 catches for 60 yards there. And then defensively, got to go with my guy, BYU linebacker Ben Bywater, 11 tackles, 4 solos, and a 76-yard pick 6. BYU won this because SMU went for 2 to win the game at the end with 8 seconds left, did not get it. BYU plus 4.5, they win outright under 65. Saturday night ended with the Frisco Bowl presented by ServPro. Boise State 35-32 over North Texas, a lot closer than I thought it would have been. Did not get to watch most of the second half of this one, but North Texas looked pretty good in the first, keeping it close there. UNT quarterback Austin Allen, 17 of 32, 53.1%, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. The Mean Green also played quarterback Stone Earl, 2 of 4, 50%, 21 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 carries for 20 yards. Not the greatest throwing day for Boise State quarterback Talon Green, 13 of 22, 59.1%, 137 yards, 1 touchdown. But on the ground, he was electric, 12 carries, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. And the ground game continued with Boise State running back Ashton Genty there. 28 carries, 178 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 catch for 10 yards as well. And then North Texas running back Ikeka Ragsdale had himself a good game as also on the ground. 21 carries, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 catches for 26 yards. North Texas wide receiver Jordan Smart led the game in receiving, 3 catches for 94 yards. And defensively, I'm probably going to go with the bottom guy, actually. Boise State corner Jalen Clark didn't have any tackles, but he had 3 pass deflections and an interception. So I'm going to go with those instead of the tackle guys there. North Texas plus 12, they covered over 64. How about the FCS semifinals? Friday night, we had a great game. Number 3, North Dakota State advancing to the national championship once again, 35-32 over number 7, Incarnate Word. Lindsey Scott Jr. was really good for most of the game. The only thing was the turnovers killed him. 30 of 46, 65.2%, 282 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 21 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble. North Dakota State quarterback Cam Miller did not throw the ball many times, and when he did, it was not completed because he went 1 of 12. That is 8.3%. I don't think I've ever seen that from a starting quarterback. 5 yards, but he ran the ball. 18 carries, 32 yards and a touchdown. The rushing game was really good for the Bison all night. Kobe Johnson, their running back, also doing well. 15 carries, 136 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. UIW running back Marcus Cooper, another great game on the ground for him. 20 carries, 112 yards, 4 catches for 42 yards. UIW wide receiver Taylor Grimes led the game in receiving, 7 receptions, 77 yards. And defensively, it was all Bison. The North Dakota State team did not have any turnovers on offense, but they got 4 on defense. Defensive end Loshiaka Roquez and linebacker Braden Weber, they had fumble recoveries off of Scott and someone else on the UIW team. And then how about Dawson Weber, the safety for North Dakota State? 2 picks in this one. He has 5 picks on the year. All 5 have came in the last 4 games. He has a 4-game interception streak, 2 in this one. North Dakota or Incarnate Word actually covered plus 7.5 under 70, which is kind of crazy. 67 in that one. And then Saturday, we had the FCS semifinal. The other one, number 1 South Dakota State crushing number 4 Montana State 39-18. It was about 6 degrees, minus 14 field temperature there in Brookings, South Dakota. Get to go down to nice, sunny, warm Frisco in a couple weeks for the FCS National Championship. Mark Gronowski for the Jackrabbits, 10 of 13, 76.9%, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 carries, 52 yards, and a rushing score as well. Montana State played 2 quarterbacks. Tommy Malott, 11 of 18, 61.1%, 174 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. That was the biggest thing for the Jackrabbits in this one. They shut down Malott on the ground all day. So that was a big key for them getting this win. Montana State's other quarterback that played, Sean Austin, 5 of 7, 71.4%, 54 yards. South Dakota State running back Isaiah Davis, him and his running mate Amar Johnson, they had good days on the ground. Davis, 16 carries, 158 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 for 1 passing. And then Amar Johnson scoring twice, 10 carries, 69 yards, 1 touchdown on the ground, 3 catches, 31 yards, and a touchdown through the air as well. Montana State wide receiver Cleveland Thomas led the game in receiving. Actually, he tied the game in receiving with South Dakota State wide receiver Jackson Yankee. Thomas, though, 4 catches, 74 yards. Yankee, 3 catches for 74 yards. No turnovers in this one here. South Dakota State, -4. They covered easily. Over under 57 pushed. So we have the Battle of the Dakotas in Frisco, January 8th for the FCS National Championship. It'll be North Dakota State, number 3 North Dakota State against number 1 South Dakota State. Go Jacks. Moving on to the NFL Week 15 Saturday. This is super tiny print, and there were too many defensive performances that I had to split it into 2 columns. So starting off here, Vikings, though, 39-36 over the Colts in overtime. The largest comeback in NFL history. Vikings were down 33-0 at halftime. Allowed just 3 points in the second half to come all the way back. So it was just absolutely ridiculous that they did this and that. Matt Ryan was a part of it after his Super Bowl fiasco a couple of years ago. For the Vikings, though, quarterback Kirk Cousins, 34 of 54, 63%, 460 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks on this one. Matt Ryan for the Colts, 19 of 33, 57.6%, 182 yards, and a touchdown. Vikings running back Dalvin Cook had a masterful day, 190 total scrimmage yards, 17 carries, 95 yards, 1 fumble on the ground, 4 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown to set up the game-tying score, the game-tying 2-point conversion attempt. The big screen pass there. Vikings wide receiver KJ Osborne actually led the game in receiving, 10 catches, 157 yards, 1 touchdown on 16 targets. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson also had a great day again at 12 catches, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 16 targets for him. And then Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. had double-digit receptions and targets, 10 catches, 60 yards, 14 targets, also had 2 carries for 60 yards. And I don't even know who to pick in terms of defensive stats, because there were a million. First guy I want to point out, Vikings linebacker Eric Kendricks, 12 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss, and 1 QB hit. Next guy I'm going to mention, Vikings linebacker Danielle Hunter, 5 tackles, 2 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 4 QB hits. And then we had Colts safety Julian Blackman, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 1 pass deflection, a 17-yard pick 6. Colts defensive tackle DeForest Buckner had a great game, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 3 QB hits. And then Colts linebacker JoJo Doman, 1 tackle, it was a solo, and a 24-yard blocked punt return for a touchdown. The Colts did cover, though, plus 3.5 over 47 easily. And just want to update you on the UConn game again. UConn just scored. Huskies making it a ball game, 28-14 going into the 4th quarter. Second game on Saturday for the NFL, Browns beating the Ravens 13-3 to stay in the playoff hunt. Deshaun Watson, 18 of 28, 64.3%, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 carries for 22 yards. Ravens quarterback Tyler Huntley, 17 of 30, 56.7%, 138 yards, 1 pick, 6 carries for 15 yards. J.K. Dobbins continues to impress in his return off of IR. 13 carries, 125 yards, 1 reception for 3 yards for the Ravens running back. Browns running back Nick Chubb, 1 yard short of 100, 21 carries, 99 yards for him. Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper led the game in receiving, 4 catches, 58 yards on 6 targets. And then defensively, I'm going to go with the guy at the bottom, Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, and 3 QB hits. This game was intriguing. Justin Tucker missing a couple field goals that would have put them, within striking distance, 4 points there. The Browns did cover -3 under 39. Bills getting it done 32-29 over the Dolphins in snowy Buffalo. It really wasn't that snowy until the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter area of the game. But Buffalo walking it off with a field goal as time expired. Josh Allen, 25 of 40, 62.5%, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 10 carries, 77 yards, and a fumble. Tua Tagovailoa for Miami, 17 of 30, 56.7%, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert had a great game on the ground, 17 carries, 136 yards, 1 reception for 20 yards. Dolphins wide receiver Jalen Waddle, he led the game in receiving, 3 catches, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 targets. Bills tight end Dawson Knox, couple yards short of 100, 6 catches, 98 yards, 1 touchdown on 8 targets. And then Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill, double-digit targets in this one, 9 catches, 69 yards, 1 touchdown on 13 targets. Defensively, I'm going to go with Dolphins defensive tackle Zach Seiler. 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. Dolphins did cover +7 over 45. Yesterday, Sunday, the Eagles go Birds, getting it done 13-1, 25-20 over the Bears. Jalen Hurts was spectacular once again, 22 of 37, 59.5%, 315 yards, 2 picks, 17 carries, 61 yards, and a hat trick, 3 rushing touchdowns on the day. Bears quarterback Justin Fields, 14 of 21, 66.7%, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, 15 carries for 95 yards. Bears running back David Montgomery led the game in rushing outside of Fields and Hurts. 12 carries, 53 yards, 1 touchdown. He also caught 3 balls for 38 yards and a receiving score as well. Eagles wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith had amazing days. 9 catches, 181 yards, 16 targets for A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith, 5 catches, 126 yards on 8 targets. Defensively, gotta go with my guy, Eagles defensive end Josh Sweat, 6 tackles, 5 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits there. Him, Hassan Reddick, and Javon Hargrave, all 2 sacks in this one. Masterful day once again for the Eagles sacking unit. Bears +8.5. They covered under 47.5. Steelers getting it done 24-16 over the Panthers. Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold, 14 of 23, 60.9%, 225 yards, 1 touchdown. How about the job that Mitch Trubisky did coming in for Kenny Pickett? 17 of 22, 77.3%, 179 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Steelers running back Najee Harris led the game in rushing, 24 carries, 86 yards, and 1 touchdown. The Panthers could not get anything going on the ground. Chuba Hubbard, their leading rusher, with 10 yards. Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson had a great game, 10 catches, 98 yards on 10 targets. And defensively, I'm going to go with Steelers defensive tackle Cameron Hayward, 3 tackles, 1 solo, 1.5 sacks, 2 QB hits. Steelers covered +3, win outright over 37. NFC South battle, Saints getting it done 21-18 over the Falcons. Andy Dalton, 11 of 17, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Desmond Ridder, his first career start for Atlanta, 13 of 26, 50%, 97 yards, 6 carries for 38 yards. He got a lot of help from rookie running back Tyler Algier, 17 carries, 139 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 reception for -3 yards. And then Saints tight end Taysom Hill had a nice day, 7 carries, 30 yards, 2 of 2 passing, 80 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown went to Saints undrafted rookie wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, 3 catches, 95 yards, 1 touchdown on 4 targets. I think someone mentioned his name on Friday. Oh yeah, this is this guy. That he would be the best rookie receiver on the field in this one, and he was by yards anyways, and a touchdown. But Falcons rookie wide receiver Drake London, he had a great game, 7 catches, 70 yards on 11 targets. Also had the game-ending fumble, however. Saints tight end Jawan Johnson, also a good game, 4 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns on 6 targets. And then defensively, got to go with Saints defensive tackle Kentavious Street, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. The Falcons +5, they covered under 43. Lions, big win to get to 500, 20-17 over the Jets in MetLife Stadium. Zach Wilson getting the start once again, returning to the starting lineup, I should say. 18 of 35, 51.4%, 317 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Lions quarterback Jared Goff, 23 of 38, 60.5%, 252 yards, 1 touchdown. Lions running back DeAndre Swift led the game in rushing, 8 carries, 52 yards, 5 catches, 23 yards on 9 targets. Rookie wide receiver Garrett Wilson for the Jets. He had a great game, 4 catches, 98 yards, 9 targets there. Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown also double-digit targets, 7 catches, 76 yards on 10 targets. And then Lions wide receiver Khalif Raymond. How about the day for him? 5 catches, 53 yards, 6 targets, 47-yard punt return touchdown as well. And then Jets tight end CJ Uzomah, 2 receptions, 41 yards, caught 2 touchdowns on those 2 receptions. And those were his only 2 targets of the game. Defensively, got to go with Lions linebacker Romeo Okwara, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. The Lions pass rush was eating all day for Detroit. Lions +2 win outright, under 43.5. Jags, crazy game in Jacksonville, but they come back from 17 down to get the win in overtime over Dallas, 40-34. Trevor Lawrence was spectacular again, 27 of 42, 64.3%, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 3 carries for 21 yards and a fumble. Dak Prescott for Dallas, 23 of 30, 76.7%, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 5 carries for 20 yards. Jaguars running back Travis Etienne Jr., he led the game in rushing, 19 carries, 103 yards, a fumble, 2 receptions for 24 yards. Ezekiel Elliott scored his 7th straight touchdown. Crazy streak that he is on there. We had 200-yard receivers in this one. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, 7 receptions, 126 yards on 7 targets. And Jaguars wide receiver Zay Jones, great game for him on my fantasy bench. 6 receptions, 109 yards, 3 touchdowns on 8 targets. And then a couple guys with double-digit targets here. Jaguars wide receiver Christian Kirk, 6 catches, 92 yards on 10 targets. And Jags tight end Evan Ingram, 8 catches, 62 yards on 10 targets as well. Cowboys wide receiver Noah Brown scored twice, 6 catches, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns on 9 targets. And the defensive player of the game, there's 2 guys I want to mention. First one is Jags defensive end Dwayne Smoot, 6 tackles, 4 solos, 3 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 2 QB hits. And then how about the game for Jaguar safety Rayshon Jenkins? 18 tackles, 9 solos, 2 pass deflections, 2 picks, including the game-ending 52-yard pick 6 in overtime. Jaguars +4 win outright over 48. Easily 74 in that one. Chiefs also in an overtime thriller, 30-24 over the Texans. Patrick Mahomes, 36 of 41, 87.8%, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries, 33 yards, and a rushing score also. Texans playing 2 quarterbacks, Davis Mills, 12 of 24, 50%, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries, 21 yards, 1 touchdown on the ground, and a costly fumble that ended the game. Also, quarterback Jeff Driscoll for Houston, 2 of 4, 50%, 8 yards. Chiefs undrafted rookie running back Isaiah Pacheco, he led the game in rushing, 15 carries, 86 yards, 1 fumble, 1 reception for 11 yards. And his running mate, Jerick McKinnon, had a great day as well, scoring twice, 10 carries, 52 yards, 1 touchdown, the game winner there. Also 8 catches, 70 yards, 1 touchdown on 8 targets. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce led the game in receiving, 10 catches, 105 yards on 10 targets. His receiving mates, Juju Smith-Schuster, he had 10 receptions, 88 yards on 10 targets as well. Defensively, I think I'm going to go with the top guy there. Texans linebacker Christian Harris, 14 tackles, 7 solos, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 QB hit. The Texans covered easily, plus 14, over 48.5. I just feel so bad for Houston, man. They just cannot find the stuff to finish games, leading the Cowboys last week and leading the Chiefs in this game. Both losing. That one last week wasn't in overtime, but losing near the buzzer there. Broncos getting the win 24-15 over the Cardinals. We had a backup quarterback bonanza in this one. Brett Rippon for Denver, 21 of 26, 80.8%, 197 yards, 1 touchdown, a pick, and a fumble. Colt McCoy started for Arizona, 13 of 21, 61.9%, 78 yards, and a pick. He got concussed in this one, so it was down to third stringer, my boy, Trace McSorley, 7 of 15, 46.7%, 95 yards, 2 picks, struggled in this game. Amazing game for Broncos running back Latavius Murray, 24 carries, 130 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 reception for 12 yards. And then Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, he led the game in receiving 7 receptions, 76 yards on 8 targets. Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, double-digit targets in this one, 7 catches, 60 yards on 11 targets. And defensively, there's 3 guys I want to mention, all on the 2 on the Broncos, 1 on the Cardinals. Monster games for all these guys, though. How about the vet Cardinals defensive end, J.J. Watt, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 3 QB hits. That's looking like vintage J.J. Watt right there. And then Broncos defensive tackle Deshaun Williams had a whale of a game also. 5 tackles, 2 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits for the big man. And then all-pro safety Justin Simmons for Denver, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 pass deflections, 2 picks on the day for him. Broncos covered -2, over 37. Raiders 30-24 over the Patriots, and what was just crazy at the end of the game. But Derek Carr for Vegas, 20 of 38, 52.6%, 231 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Patriots quarterback Mac Jones, 13 of 31, 41.9%, 112 yards, 4 carries, 10 yards. Kind of struggled in this one, but he got a lot of help from his running back Ramondre Stevenson, 19 carries, 172 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches for -4 yards. Raiders wide receiver Keelan Cole led the game in receiving, 2 catches for 50 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 targets. That touchdown should have never been allowed. I don't understand how they saw that it was a touchdown. His foot was on the line. I mean, it was, in my mind and a lot of other people's mind, clearly on the line. The officiating poll report said that it would have stood regardless, because there wasn't enough information. There wasn't a view that definitively you could tell it was out of bounds, but you could. There's photographic evidence that you could see it was out of bounds. And they made it. I think they made a huge mistake. The Patriots should have won this game, getting that stop on 4th down. Ended up going to overtime, or not going to overtime. Ended up a drastic scenario at the end of the game with Jacoby Myers, 2 catches, 47 yards, a fumble. That fumble was a 20-yard throw back to Mac Jones after Ramondre Stevenson had ran the ball on a draw play with no time left in regulation, pitched it back to Jacoby Myers, then he threw it back to Mac Jones, picked off by Chandler Jones, who ran it in for the touchdown. But before we get to that, the Raiders tight end Darren Waller, great game coming back off IR, 3 catches, 48 yards, 1 touchdown on 3 targets. And defensively there, Kyle Duggar for the Patriots, 6 tackles, 4 solos, 1 pass deflection, 16-yard pick, 6 off of Derek Carr. And as I mentioned, Chandler Jones for the Raiders. The defensive end had 2 tackles, 2 solos, 2 pass deflections, 2 QB hits, and a 48-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Game, set, match. Raiders covered -2.5 over 45. Chargers in a close one at the buzzer. Dicker, the kicker, getting it done. 17-14 over the Titans. Justin Herbert for LA, 28 of 42, 66.7%, 313 yards, 2 picks. Ryan Tannehill got dinged up in the middle of this game, but came back to finish it. 15 of 22, 68.2%, 165 yards, 1 pick, and 1 rushing touchdown as well. Titans rookie quarterback Malik Willis, 3 of 4, 75% for 20 yards. Titans running back Derrick Henry led the game in rushing, 21 carries, 104 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 catches for 59 yards. And Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen led the game in receiving, 8 catches, 86 yards on 9 targets. Defensively, have to go with Titans defensive end DeMarcus Walker, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits. Chargers -3 pushed under 46.5. Bengals comeback city against the Bucks. They were down 17-3 at halftime. Come back and beat them, outscoring the Bucks 31-6 in the second half. Tom Brady for Tampa, 30 of 44, 68.2%, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 2 fumbles. The turnovers were prevalent all day for Tampa, especially Brady there by him. Joe Burrow for Cincy, 27 of 39, 69.2%, 200 yards, but he threw 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. Bucks running back Leonard Fournette led the game in rushing, 10 carries, 44 yards, 4 catches for 30 yards. Then Bucks wide receiver Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, they tied for the game lead in receiving. Godwin had 8 catches, 83 yards, 1 touchdown on 8 targets, and Evans 5 catches, 83 yards on 10 targets. Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase also double-digit targets, 7 catches, 60 yards, 1 touchdown, 13 targets. The same can be said for Bucks wide receiver Russell Gage, 8 catches, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns on 12 targets. Defensively, I got to go with Bucks corner Carlton Davis III, 6 tackles, all of them solos, 4 pass deflections, and a pick. Bengals covered -3 over 47.5. Sunday Night Football was kind of a little bit of a snoozer, but I think it ended up pretty good. Giants 20-12 over the Commanders. They jumped them to get to the number 6 seed in the NFC playoffs now. Washington just a half game up on the first 2 teams out there, Seahawks and the Lions. Taylor Heineke for the Commanders, 17 of 29, 58.6%, 249 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 carries, 33 yards, 2 fumbles, a big one that led to a touchdown, defensive touchdown. Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, 21 of 32, 65.6%, 160 yards, 10 carries for 35 yards. Commanders running back Brian Robinson Jr., he led the game in rushing, 12 carries, 89 yards, 1 catch for 18 yards. Commanders rookie first rounder wide receiver Jahan Dotson led the game in receiving, 4 catches, 105 yards, 1 touchdown on 6 targets. And defensively, how can you go with anyone other than Giants rookie first round defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau? 12 tackles, 9 solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit, 1 fumble recovery, and it was a 1-yard fumble return for a touchdown. He had the strip sack of Taylor Heineke that he recovered himself and advanced into the end zone. Giants +4 win outright under 40. NCAA news here. We have one returning player to mention. Oregon quarterback Bo Nix has announced he will return for the 2023 season and not enter the NFL draft. So interesting decision for Bo after a spectacular season in Eugene this year. Transfer portal news. NC State quarterback Devin Leary, he had a visit to Auburn this weekend, which was interesting because Coastal Carolina quarterback Grayson McCall canceled his visit once Devin Leary got a visit announced that he was going there. So that was interesting, to say the least. Auburn wanting Leary over McCall, it seems, anyways. Arizona State quarterback Emory Jones, he visited it with Indiana, so could get a big boost for the Hoosiers there at quarterback. Alabama wide receiver JoJo Early, he has committed to TCU, so the Horned Frogs and Sonny Dykes getting a big commitment in the transfer portal from Bama. Sacramento State running back Cameron Scadaboo, he has a new home. He has committed to Arizona State, so massive get, I think, for the Sun Devils there. Jackson State quarterback Shedeur Sanders, he has entered the transfer portal. No surprise, going to go to Colorado more than likely with his father. Kent State quarterback Colin Schlee, he has a new home. He has committed to UCLA. So Chip Kelly replacing Dorian Thompson-Robinson with a veteran quarterback there in the portal. Coastal Carolina edge rusher Josiah Stewart, he has committed to Michigan. A massive get, I think, for the Michigan Wolverines if they lose any of their edge rushers to the draft. Penn State quarterback Christian Veilleux, he has committed to Pitt, going just a couple hours down the road to Pittsburgh there. So see if he wins the starting quarterback next year or not for Pat Narduzzi's squad. The Georgia Tech quarterback Jeff Sims, he has committed to Nebraska. So that's a dynamic quarterback that Matt Rule now has at his hands, at his disposal there in Lincoln there. Oregon linebacker Justin Flo, he has committed to Arizona. So Arizona State getting a couple transfers, kind of big time transfers there. Interesting to see what the state of Arizona can do in the Pac-12 next year. Another Jackson State player in the portal, corner wide receiver Travis Hunter has entered the portal. I heard it is not 100% sure that he will follow Coach Deion Sanders to Colorado, but I'm sure that is highly likely that he will at least get a talk with him in before he makes a decision on where to go. Number 2 player, I believe, in the class of 2022 there. Holy Cross defensive back Walter Reynolds, he has committed to Ohio University. He is a Bobcat now, so pretty good get for the Bobcats there. And finally, Texas A&M quarterback Haynes King, he has replaced Jeff Sims and committed to Georgia Tech. So another starting opportunity there possibly for Haynes King. Draft declarations, we have 4 of them here to talk about. Syracuse running back Sean Tucker, great career for the Orange. I think that Sean Tucker's probably going to land in the 3rd round, maybe slip into day 3 possibly. But he is a very good back that I think second round, probably the ceiling there. Texas linebacker DeMarvion Overshone. I absolutely loved this guy last year. Didn't really notice him as much this year for that Longhorn defense, but he's a guy that has sideline to sideline ability. Have to see what his measurables look like at the combine. But I really do like him, and I think he could be a great supporting piece to a defense in the NFL. TCU quarterback Max Duggan, he has entered his name into the draft as well. I was kind of surprised that he had to even do that because he was a senior. So he was automatically eligible. But Duggan, I don't think his NFL prospects look the greatest with this season. They do. They look a lot better than what they were. But I still think he's going to be a backup in the league. With some upside there, possibly a 4th, 5th round quarterback. And then another Texas player, running back Bijan Robinson, has declared he's going to skip the bowl game. The number 1 ranked running back by most people in this class. And he has everything. I mean, he's shown me a lot more this season than what I watched on film a couple months ago from last year. He really has the power, vision in the hole, can accelerate. I think the acceleration out of the hole is the biggest thing that I love watching Robinson. And he also showed a lot this year in the receiving game. And I was impressed with that, how that aspect of his game has improved. Because that was really the last thing that I needed to see to kind of solidify him as the number 1 back and possible 1st round pick. Coaching carousel, couple head coach announcements to make. Kent State has their new head man. It is Minnesota running backs coach Kenny Burns. So interesting hire there. And then Washington State's offensive coordinator Eric Morris. He is now the new head coach at North Texas, leading the Mean Green. And finally, Navy has their replacement for Ken Niumatalolo, who was fired last week. It is promoting from within. Defensive coordinator Brian Newberry is the new head coach at the Naval Academy. NFL news, interesting decision coming for the NFL. There is momentum toward extending the trade deadline in 2023 by either 1 or 2 weeks. So we could be getting more trades, more trading frenzy, and more teams thinking that they are in it going down the stretch there if we move it back. IR activations, all of these guys played this weekend. Cowboys offensive tackle Tyron Smith, Broncos linebacker Randy Gregory, and offensive lineman Billy Turner, and Raiders tight end Darren Waller and wide receiver Hunter Renfrow. Sad times to talk about the IR designations here because at this point in the season, their seasons are over. Broncos defensive lineman Draymond Jones placed on IR. Texans running back, their rookies running back Damian Pierce and corner Derek Stingley Jr. really disappointing end to their seasons. And then Patriots offensive lineman Isaiah Wynn also placed on IR. Obviously, he would have a chance to come back if the Patriots make the playoffs. Injuries. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor likely done for the year. High ankle sprain this week on Saturday against the Vikings there. Did not play very much. So he is likely done for the year. Good news for Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray. He's going to have ACL surgery, expected to return by the start of 2023. So that is very good news for Arizona. He had a clean ACL tear. They're going to repair that, and they stitched his meniscus up as well. So it looks good that Kyler will be able to return right at the start of the 2023 season next fall. Jets quarterback Mike White announced he has multiple rib fractures, likely out this week. They play on Thursday, so tough turnaround for him. Zach Wilson expected to get the start once again on Thursday. Cardinals quarterback Colt McCoy, he has a concussion, so we'll see if he can clear protocol before Sunday. The Cardinals play on Sunday night on Christmas, so we'll see if he clears concussion protocol before that. If not, Trace McSorley is the next guy up, or they can sign someone else to start. Ravens quarterback Marcus Peters, he has a mild calf strain, likely to miss some time there in Baltimore. So not good when they're fighting for a playoff spot, but we'll see how long Peters is out. Bengals defensive end Sam Hubbard, he is out a few weeks. He also has a calf injury. Cowboys linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, he's going to miss some time with a shoulder stinger, may miss some time, not sure yet. Waiting on the MRI results for Vander Esch. Bad news for the Jaguars. Their left tackle, Cam Robinson, he is out for the year, torn meniscus. So tough blow as the Jags attempt to win the division. They have everything in front of them. They hold their own destiny in their hands to win the AFC South. So going to have to do it without Robinson at left tackle. Also, bad news, Falcons running back Caleb Huntley, he is done for the year. He tore his Achilles yesterday. And also bad news for the Philadelphia Eagles. Quarterback Jalen Hurts has a sprained throwing shoulder. Gardner Minshew has a real chance to start Saturday, likely to do that against Dallas, in Dallas. Could possibly miss the next two, and may possibly not even play until the divisional round if the Eagles can lock up the number one seed. To do that, they need one win out of their last three. Ins and outs here for tonight's game. Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald and Packers left tackle David Bakhtiari. They are both out. And also with Green Bay, they waived Sammy Watkins today. So could be an interesting pickup for a playoff team down the stretch. See if he can contribute to someone's playoff run there. College football preview. We have a bunch of games in between shows this week. The first one tomorrow, we have a couple. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That's at Albertson Stadium in Boise, Idaho, where Boise State plays. On the blue turf will be Eastern Michigan, 8-4 against San Jose State, 7-4. The Spartans there, San Jose State, they are 4-point favorites. Total is 54. I kind of like the under in that one. And that one's at 3:30 on ESPN. And then the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, that's at FAU Stadium, where the FAU Owls play in Boca Raton, Florida. Liberty, the 8-4 Flames without Hugh Freeze against Toledo, who is 8-5, the MAC champions there. 4.5-point favorites for Toledo. Total is also 54 in that one. I like that to go over for some reason. I don't know why. Liberty without Hugh Freeze should be interesting to watch. And then 7:30 on ESPN is that one tomorrow night. On Wednesday, we have the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl at Caesar Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, home of the Saints. Western Kentucky, 8-5. They are the Conference USA or no. Yeah, the Conference USA runners-up, I believe. No, they just played 13 games. Yeah, they did not make the conference championship. They're against South Alabama, though. the Sunbelt West runners up there. 4.5-point favorites for the Jaguars of South Alabama. I really like them in that game. It's going to be a tough game defensively to face Austin Reed, but I like the Jags in that one, like them all year. Over-under is 56, and I'm going with the over in that one. Should be high scoring, I think, anyways. 9 p.m. on ESPN. Thursday, we had the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl at Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas, home of TCU. The Baylor Bears, 6-6. They are 4-point favorites against Air Force, 9-3 Falcons there. Total is 46.5. I'm going to go with the under. I like Air Force as an underdog there. Not sure how they're 4-point underdogs there. Give me my boy Brad Roberts, Zeke Daniels, and co. and the Air Force Falcons. That one's 7:30 on ESPN on a Thursday night. And then Friday, we have one game going on before the show starts there. The Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. That's at Independence Stadium in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's where Louisiana Tech plays. Louisiana, 6-6. They will face Houston, 7-5 Cougars, 7-point favorites. Total is 57.5. I like the over for that one. That one's 3 p.m. on ESPN. Give me the Houston Cougars in that game there. Pick standings. We all went 2-0 except Logan. Logan fell victim of Kyler Murray's ACL injury. He lone wolfed the Cardinals. So he now falls back to 4 games behind. Mark is still 1 game back. And Peter, welcome, sir. Joining everyone above 500. So great to see Peter back above 500 for the first time in a while. But yeah, Peter is now 5 games back. Remains 5 games back, I should say. So tonight we are all lockstep here. The Rams at the Packers up in Green Bay here in Wisconsin. 7-point favorites are the Green Bay Packers at home, and we all like the Packers. Number 1, probably because Aaron Rodgers. Number 2 is because Baker Mayfield's got to come in to the very cold Green Bay, Wisconsin. Not sure what the temperature is going to be like up there. But I'm sure it's going to be freezing because it's cold here in Milwaukee. And Green Bay is just about an hour and a half drive upstate. The weather app here is saying that it is going to be, it's 15 right now. So that's going to be fun for all those players. Looks like it's going to stay about that temperature going into this game tonight. So around 15 degrees. We'll see if the field temperature drops because it's interesting. The field temperature is the same. Low of 14 tonight. So not going to get much better for the Rams coming in here. But yeah, I think that's a factor. The cold, as well as, the Rams team overall just does not have it. The Packers aren't that much better right now, but I think they're playing better than the Rams have. So we're all on Green Bay. Total is 39.5. Yeah, I mean, I like the under. I think a 17-14 type of thing is in play for a cold game in Green Bay at night. 8:15 tonight, ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus. Thursday also should be a cold game. The Jags at the Jets. The Jets, it's a pick'em game there in New York. Or I should say in New Jersey. But we're all on Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is playing lights out right now, has only thrown 2 interceptions in the last 4 games, or 1. I don't remember how many it is, but yeah, I just think with Zach Wilson, they had a nice game against Detroit, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do it against the Jags, who are streaking. The Jags have everything to play for, trying to make the AFC South and win the division there. This game, it looks like it's going to be rainy on Thursday in East Rutherford. 100% chance of rain. 1 to 2 inches expected there, 15 to 25 miles an hour, wind 46. So it's not going to be too cold on a Thursday night, but still going to be, cooler than what the Jags are coming from. I don't think that's going to matter. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to shred the Jets there. It's going to be a good matchup, though, I think. And Jets trying to save their playoff lives there. Total is also 39.5 for this one. I'm going over that. I think the Jags have an offense to get over that. 8:15 on Prime Video. And just want to update you on the Myrtle Beach Bowl. It has gone final 28-14. The Herd have beat the Yukon Huskies there. Great effort by Jim Mora Jr.'s team there to come back and get within 2 scores. Just could not do much in the fourth quarter. And finally, next week, we will be back here talking. I will be, let's see, what's next Monday? Next Monday is the 26th. Okay, so I'll be in Pennsylvania talking about all this stuff. But we got the closing Week 16 Monday Night Football game the day after Christmas. Chargers at the Colts. Chargers trying to keep their footing in the AFC wild card slot. They are currently number 6. And the Colts not really playing for anything. They haven't been eliminated yet officially, but they're dangerously close to that. No Jonathan Taylor, also going to make it tough on Indy. The Thursday night Week 17 kickoff game, Cowboys at the Titans. That should be intriguing depending on what happens this week. Cowboys big matchup against Philly. Titans be playing against the Texans, who have been very good last 2 weeks. So we'll see what that comes out of, and if they're tied possibly going into Week 17 atop their division at 7-8 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But as always, we'll have those 2 game previewed. We'll have the game recaps from this weekend and the college bowl slate. And then we'll talk about anything NFL and NCAA news related there. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, FAA_bets on Twitter as well. And then FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Thank you all for